It's Persona 5 season once again for us BA global players, as the Alabaster calling card event is returning in this week's Blue Archive update, and with it comes the release of Maid Momoi and Maid Midori's banners as the new 3-star units, as well as the rerun of Maid Toki and Maid Aris' banners, plus Maid Yuzu as the welfare unit. In this video, I will be reviewing Bunny Toki and Maid Aris, while Maid Momoi and Maid Midori have been reviewed in a separate video, which should hopefully have been uploaded probably a day before this video is out. So without further ado, here is a short review of the two returning units. Let's start things off with CNC's 5th member, who has decided to follow in her senpai's footsteps. It's Bunny Toki. Fellas, I must admit, I have lost gallons to her. I'm a huge fan of Toki myself, and her bunny outfit is no different, cause now she is exceptionally hot. For one, I'm a huge advocate for hair down Toki with those big bangs, which in my opinion is her best hairstyle. That short skimpy navy blue bunny suit as well, which not only highlights her sexy body and curves, but also accentuating her much more exposed cake and mummy milkers. And while she isn't the most voluptuous compared to her CNC senpais, god damn, it is still enough to make a man's knees shake. And who can forget those white thigh highs and heels that expose her long, luscious, delicious legs even more? Good golly gumdrops, fellas. Thank God I was born in the year of the rabbit, cause I'm about to pyon like rabbits with this sexy bunny. So, what kind of student is she? Bunny Toki is a permanent explosive DPS striker with light armor who is average in urban terrains, excellent in field, and terrible indoors. She uses the standard DPS equipment set, which comprises of hat, pin, and watch. Let's take a look at her skills. Bunny Toki has a simple 2-cost EX, where she whips out a gauntlet to deal damage to one enemy, and with her basic skill, every 40 seconds, she once again deals damage to one enemy while planting a crit damage rest debuff on them for 30 seconds. Her enhanced skill increases her attack, and for her sub skill, her explosive effectiveness is boosted for 20 seconds whenever she activates her EX. At UA 40, she gains additional attack speed on her enhanced skill plus, and at UA 50, her field combat power improves from S to SS. Now, is Bunny Toki any good? Well, she is definitely a solid raid DPS unit who also acts as a supporter. For one, her EX skill is fairly strong, as at max level skill, it can deal respectable damage with its sound multiplier of 1045%. But her EX's main appeals aren't actually its damaging properties, but rather its extremely cheap 2-cost, which allows for faster and easy rotations, and the fact that it is a multi-hit single target skill. Even though this skill might seem like a one-hit attack, it actually hits the enemy 24 times with one use, since she launches a whole bunch of missiles. More on the benefits of this trait in a bit. Next, her basic skill is also quite useful. While the damage isn't anything to shout about, having an acceptable multiplier of 591%, its value comes from its ability to reduce the enemy's crit damage rest by 26% at max level skill, increasing the damage they receive from critical hits, subsequently improving your team's overall damage output. And it's very similar to Swimsuit Izuna's basic skill. However, its proc time of 40 seconds is pretty lengthy, especially for the first activation, but this problem is compensated by the debuff's long 30-second duration, meaning the debuff has a downtime of only 10 seconds after the initial activation. Other than those, her sub-skill gives her EXs and normal attacks damage a nice little boost, granting herself a 35.4% explosive effectiveness buff for 20 seconds whenever she activates her EX. And while she gains extra attack speed at UA 40, it isn't that important for her, though her survivability at these levels does become much better. Thus, with all these, Bunny Toki is more of a support student instead of a damage dealer. Her damage is still decent as a result of her sub and enhanced skills, but compared to the many other raid DPS alternatives in the game, it isn't as strong, and she primarily acts in a support role, rotating through her inexpensive EX for faster cycling and decreasing the enemy's crit damage rest with her basic skill, directly improving your student's damage. So where can she be used in? Well, first and foremost, Bunny Toki is much simpler to use than her regular version, as her kit is relatively straightforward, compared to the OG's complex one, where you will need to worry about constantly maintaining the Alabaster mode. Next, in terms of usage, she can be brought into specific joint firing drills, but her best use lies in raids. Specifically, she has become an important unit for Kaiten Phase 2. This is because she is able to destroy his shield, which by the way reduces all incoming damage by 50% and requires a certain number of hits from EX skills to dispel with her EX. Cause like I was mentioning earlier, it does 24 hits, allowing her to break his shield on any difficulty, including Torment, which needs 15 hits, making her superior to her counterpart Shiroko, who can only destroy his shield up to Insane since her EX inflicts 10 hits. Therefore, Bunny Toki has seen a lot of use in many players' teams, especially on Insane and Torment due to her shield breaking capabilities, and she can be brought into both urban and field Kaiten, though she is more effective in the latter terrain due to her better mood. And while there are other units who can also destroy his shield on every difficulty, such as Nagi, Hina, and Marina, Bunny Toki is still a top choice for your team. Other than being a shield breaker, she also acts as a solid sub DPS, capable of dishing out decent damage with her EX and normal attacks, while using the former outside of breaking his shield to cycle through skills since it is inexpensive. She serves as a useful debuffer as well, occasionally reducing the crit damage rest of both the rangers and the robot, letting your students deal more damage with their crits. And finally, her survivability is improved in this raid due to her light armor's resistance to the boss's yellow attacks, though the robot can still hit pretty hard with his slashes and rockets, especially on Torment, so this is where the extra UE levels can come in handy. Aside from Kaiten, she sadly doesn't see much use in other raids, not even the traditional raid ones. For Hyro, she receives more damage from his explosive attacks. Her moods in both his terrains aren't great, and there are other students who are superior in terms of DPS and are more essential for the raid's mechanics. She is also not suitable for Greg, cause AoE damage dealers are necessary for this raid. Not to mention, while her basic can apply a debuff, it takes too long to proc, and there are alternative students who are better specialized for the raid's debuff mechanics. Nevertheless, in general, you may use her in your raid teams for raid armored grand assault stages if needed, where she would be helpful as a debuffer and a decent single target raid DPS with an easily rotatable EX. So overall, should you pull for Bunny Toki? Well, considering she is only really important and useful for Kaiten Phase 2 so far, and doesn't see much use elsewhere, you may skip her, especially if you already have other students who can destroy his shield, or if you don't intend to tackle Torment Kaiten, which is where she truly shines in, or if you're able to borrow her from your club/friends list. On the other hand, if you don't have anyone to break his shield, or if you do plan on being competitive in the Kaiten raid, or maybe you want more of her alefs, then you may pull for her. You may also go for her if she is your waifu, and you wanna play BA with one hand while staring at her and this spicy L2D, just like how I play ZZZ whenever I'm using Qingyi or Lucy. Now we move on to our cute, adorable daughter of the GDD, it's Panpakapan, Maid Aris. Listen, with Aris, there is not a horny bone in my body, cause to me, Aris and Kay are like the precious daughters that me and Yuka raised, and just seeing her innocent smile as she excitedly spouts out some random nonsense in gamer lingo brings a warm fuzzy feeling to my heart. Not only that, her maid version looks incredibly cute as well. She may just be donning a simple maid outfit, but good golly gosh, she looks so adorable. And my favorite aspect of her maid design is her new messy long ponytail, cause I really love characters with long ponytails and I think it really suits her. It really raises her cuteness. All in all, I really like Aris. She's probably my favorite GDD member. I like her class change from hero to maid. I think she's even cuter now, and I'm glad that the Aris bros do enjoy her new alt. And I'm sure you guys wanna see her idol version brought to life. I know I do. So let's look at the type of student she is. Maid Aris is a permanent Mystic DPS striker with red armor, and she has the following terrain moods: S combat power in urban terrains, B combat power in field, and D combat power indoors. She also rocks hat, pin and watch, which is the standard DPS equipment set, with the pin and watch being especially important since it increases her crit. Time to move on to her skills. Maid Aris' 4-cost EX deals damage to one enemy, while her basic skill increases her mystic effectiveness and attack every 15 normal attacks, with these buffs lasting for 30 seconds at basic skill level 1 to 9 and 40 seconds at level 10. Her enhanced skill increases her crit damage, and with her sub-skill, her normal attacks have been converted to target only one enemy at a time, though it now also deals additional damage. She receives more attack on her enhanced skill plus at UE 40, and her urban combat power is elevated from S to SS at UE 50. Finally, she has a unique item, aka her Maid Headband, which provides her with extra crit at Born Gear level 1, and after using these mats to upgrade it to level 2, her basic skill plus slightly boosts her mystic effectiveness and attack buff values, as well as gaining the ability to increase her crit rate too. Now, is Maid Aris a good unit? For starters, she is an extremely strong Mystic DPS unit who has a great kit and good stat distribution, having really high base attack and boasting one of the highest in the game. She also functions as both an auto attacker, possessing somewhat of an AA focused kit, and a single target damage dealer, mainly due to her EX skill. Focusing on the latter first, her burst EX is very strong due to its fairly high multiplier of 1128% at max level skill, plus its average 4 cost is pretty decent as well, and combine these with her high base attack, her potent self buffs from her other skills, and the additional buffs she can receive from other units, allows her EX to deal massive damage to one enemy, being able to even reach the maximum damage cap of 4 million, provided she has all the proper buffs. Moving on, looking at her other skills, her basic is exceptionally useful, as at level 10, it increases her mystic effectiveness by 38% and her attack by 32% for a whole 40 seconds. Plus at Born Gear Tier 2, her basics buff values are slightly increased to 41% and 36% respectively, while giving an additional 22.5% crit rate buff. However, the requirement to proc this skill is quite steep, needing 15 normal attacks, which can be extra troublesome for her because of the Sword of Light's low attack speed. Hence, Maid Aris would greatly benefit from attack speed buffers such as Onsen Shinatsu, as they can help her activate this skill much more frequently with their potent buffs, with this being especially important since her basic is extremely useful. Speaking of which, her sub-skill has also changed how her normal attacks work. Unlike her regular versions, which pierces the enemy, Maid Aris' normal attacks now hit only one enemy at a time, while inflicting up to 30.4% additional damage. This synergizes well with her high attack stat and self buffs, making her an exceptional AA unit cause her slow normal attacks are compensated by how hard each one hits. And once she is buffed by attack speed buffers, it turns her into an even more powerful AA, as she can dish out her strong AAs faster, subsequently activating her potent basic skill more often, leading to further increased damage. Finally, her Enhanced and Enhanced Skill Plus additionally boosts her personal damage, increasing both her crit damage and attack, with the latter being especially important and required for harder difficulty content since her damage output is significantly improved. With all that being said, despite being a formidable blue DPS unit with high firepower, she does have one weakness, aka she suffers from crit and stability issues, and this is mainly due to her EX's nature of being a one-hit attack. While she has a bunch of stuff that can help increase her crit, such as her tier 9 pin and watch, as well as her Born Gear that not only gives her basic skill a crit buff at tier 2 like I was talking about earlier, but also extra flat crit rate at tier 1, though this item hasn't arrived to global yet. Not to mention crit buffs from students such as Akko, she will still face these problems, especially cause she doesn't have guaranteed crit like Mika, and you're doing the same one shot over and over again. so the likelihood of her not critting a lot of her shots, or in some cases any of them, is there, leading you to experience crit and stability molding. Nevertheless, Maid Aris is still a strong mystic single target damage dealer and AA DPS unit, and if she has the proper buffs, plus she is able to crit with her EX, her damage output is impeccable. So where can Maid Aris be used in? Well, while she can be used in a bunch of blue single target content, she mainly excels in blue raids, shining in urban terrain ones, while still being a solid option for few centric raids. In particular, she has primarily seen a lot of use in Urban Shirokuro, acting as the main hyper carry in many players' Insane and Torment teams. And while you can utilize her on the lower difficulties, like Extreme or below, it is kind of overkill, hence she is usually brought into the higher difficulty stages. In this raid, you would use her EX to deal massive damage to both the bosses, and by proccing her basic skill to increase her attack, mystic effectiveness and crit, as well as buffing her with various buffers like Kamhare or Himari, Akko, and Yuya Kayoko, her damage output can go through the roof, as she is able to demolish them, even reaching the max damage cap. You also ideally want her to be at least UE 40 to UE 50, especially if you plan to take on Insane and Torment difficulty, so that you can maximize her damage. However, like I previously talked about, Maid Aris's crit and stability problems come into full swing here. This is because in order to achieve a high score in this raid, especially on Insane difficulty, you will need her to crit most if not all her shots, as the damage difference between her crit and non-crit shots can be huge. Hence this led to many senseis experiencing crit molding in previous Shirokuro raids when using Maid Aris, specifically those who were trying to be competitive by earning a higher score from Insane. And if you plan to chase for a high score too in the future, it may also take you some time and it can be frustrating depending on your RNG. Other than Shirokuro, Maid Aris has also seen quite a lot of use in a number of other blue armored raids, such as Blue Urban and Few Kaiten to deal damage to the robot, Blue Armored Bina, Blue Armored Urban Horde, and Few Gauss. Though these two bosses do have higher crit res than most, so it can be much tougher for her to crit. Finally, in case you were wondering, she's not suitable for Blue FOS, cause not only does she take more damage from his light attacks, but her EX is less effective since EX damage is nerfed by 80% and her AA attacks are too slow for this mode. So overall, should you pull for Maid Aris? Well, considering she is a strong blue DPS unit with a well-balanced kit and stats, you may pull for her if you want a powerful blue damage dealer who will greatly help you in a whole bunch of blue armored raids, especially on Insane and Torment, or you need more of her Alabs, or if she is your waifu. I certainly know there are a lot of Aris fans, especially this guy. I mean, he's her husband. Conversely, you may also skip her if you plan to just rely on other blue DPS units instead, or you are able to borrow her from your friends/clubmates, or if you're saving for other future units instead, in which case just save your pyroxenes. And that's all for this week's review. Friendly reminder that I have uploaded a separate review on Maid Momoi and Maid Midori, so go check it out if you haven't, link in the description. Anyways, let me know who you're pulling for among the two. If you are, good luck with your pulls, and I'll see y'all in the next one.